Cheers to you. I'm going to start sharing some of the things that I'm working on currently, besides working in AI, which is a very big topic and big concern for everybody, but I want to pull away from that because I don't live in that fear. I don't live in that confrontation with technology as most people seem to be doing these days. And the more and more videos that I see that are based on AI and what it's doing and the potential it has to completely invade the creative space, I really don't feel like focusing on that because it truly doesn't make a difference in my life. It really doesn't, and I'll explain that. I'm a creative. I create whether anybody wants me to or not. I create because I have to. It is my DNA. I'm a third-generation drummer. I've been on stage since I was 5. I've been playing on records since I was 10. I've been singing. I've been writing. I've been dancing. No, I have not been dancing. I can salsa a little bit. Just a little bit. Just enough to impress the ladies. And the men. The men are also very impressed with my salsatic skills, if you will. But no, I want to talk about what I'm doing because I think it's going to inspire you as much as it inspires me. With that being said, this is multidimensional. So one of the things that I'm very inspired by is an artist by the name of Brian Eno. And most people would be primarily inspired by his creative works. I'm more inspired by his mind and how he thinks. So I started a community-based creative endeavor called the Scenius Society. And Scenius is Brian Eno's word. It goes beyond the singular genius, and it communicates a scene or a collective of geniuses that guide and inspire and provoke other creatives to become better and to really dive into themselves and maybe see something within themselves through somebody else's eyes, through their work. And everybody is evolving in their own time. Some will reach a certain level years before another. And then some may never reach that level, but they have the same fulfillment of being nurtured by this community and being accepted and being validated that they are in this inclusive hug of creativity, of creatives. So, Eno says, art is not made in a vacuum. And he identifies that the majority of what we consider the most incredible art or identifiable art and artists of the times, they were part of a scene, right? You had the Warhol scene, you had the New York scene, you had your Parisian scene, you've had your German scenes, you've Asian, I mean, it doesn't matter, I could go on. Every place has its scene. Seattle had a scene. It's called grunge. And as you recognize, they were all working together. They were all playing the same stages, using the same gear, helping each other out, and motivating each other and pushing each other towards something of their own greatness. There's something to be said about that, because due to social media, it has become such an individual, a singular experience to be creative. And I've said in the past, in the class that I developed, I make it a very strong point. You cannot be authentic when you're hitting the record button. As soon as you hit the record button to capture something creative, you are pulled out of it. And I'm not talking about hitting record on a tape player or hitting record on your voice memos to take your ideas down. Or even on a camera such as this, because I'm confessing to you. This is, you are my priest, my rabbi, in my case. You're my therapist. You're listening to me as I indulge in my own broad concepts and deeper thoughts. So, with this whole singular concept of everybody working for themselves to promote themselves through the lens, you lose a lot of truth. You lose a lot of your own identity. As much as you think you're being connected, you're more conscious of how you look. You're concerned about, is the camera in focus? Is the microphone too loud? Am I talking too much? Did I stumble upon my words? You're completely consumed with the performance. You're not consumed with the experience. So this is what I'm getting back to, or I personally have been getting back to this for years. And when I work with a recording artist, this is what I promote to them. If we're going to work together, your phone goes off, and you're going to dig a little deeper. You're not going to settle, ever. If there's something else that needs to be done, if there's something else that you're not saying, I'm going to pull it out of you. And I've said this in videos before. I worked with an artist, and I said, I don't believe this second line. I don't think that's really what you want to say. What do you want to say? What are you trying to say here? And he said, whatever it was. And I said, then why aren't you saying that? That hits. And he said, because I'll cry. I went, but that's the point. You're hitting a nerve. You're raw. You're inviting people into your own pain. And that's how people connect, knowing that they're not alone in their own pain. So, what I've been working on is the Senior Society. And I've put together a collective of composers, artists of all mediums. And we're all pushing each other towards the next thing. We're all sharing the works that we're doing with each other currently, from the inspiration, from the note, from the sketch, to the finished product. And helping each other recognize that you don't need to go much further. This has impact. I think it's time to step away and let it breathe a little bit. Let it become what it wants to become. Let it tell you if it's done or not. It's not up to you to tell the art if it's done. Okay? That's just what I've been led to believe. And I honor that daily. That it's not my position to judge my art, it's my position to get it out and be of service and deliver it in the best that I can without, as you know, my mind getting in the way to fuck it up. I remain connected to heart and spirit through the creative journey. This is why one note can absolutely pull me into the depths of my emotions, into pain, into beauty, into joy. I might play a couple of notes that remind me of my daughter's beautiful smile, or I might play a couple of notes that remind me of the embrace of with my wife Or I might play a couple of notes that remind me of moments that I've spent with good friends. You know? That's what art is supposed to do. It's supposed to remind you of a moment in your life that can be shared with others. That might remind them of their own moments or might give them some hope that they too will get a chance to enjoy that. Or maybe that's what they're working towards and they see that it is possible. So when you take the whole experience of the singular thought as an artist with typical social media and outlets, I've taken it upon myself to venture beyond that. And I've started creating in what I call sing-X's, which are single experiences. These days, as you know, most music is released as a single. And that's it. There's no body of work anymore. There's no album to consume in a sitting. I've lost that. I will go and sit and listen to records. I do. Pretty much every morning. I start off, I journal, I listen to an album. I pull an album off my shelf and I play it because I want to experience what they were experiencing. I want to try and put myself in their mental state, in their emotional state, and see how I connect with it. What connected me to that artist? And I want to see if it still pulls me in. And if there's something new, if I've grown and now I can hear something completely different, which is in the case of, something like Miles Davis, Kind of Blue. I can't get enough of that record. Or Coltrane Ballads. Absolutely love that. Or anything by fucking Keith Jarrett. There are 1,000 notes that have gone by me that I still have yet to connect with, and I can't wait to connect with. But this is the part about art that I find so important, I find so personal. So I've created this concept of taking songs, multiple songs, like half an album's worth of songs, 4 or 5 songs, creating them in purpose, intentionally, to be a collective, a suite, if you will. And they can be completely different in style and characteristic, but they are bound together singularly as one collective piece, and that is one file. So one file of 4 or 5 songs is uploaded, and the person is led to experience the 4 or 5 songs in one sitting. Or they just press play and 4 or 5 songs play. But they are not divided or edited into singles for release. It is one singular experience, a sing-X. So that's where I'm at now, is creating experiences for people. But not just for people, but for myself, to tell my story. And these songs might be divided by, just little poems. Maybe just a line from the song that is the line of purpose, as I call it, the LOP. And that LOP explains the entire song. The entire song evolves around that singular thought. So maybe that's how it's set up. Or maybe it's just sonic characteristics. Maybe it's environmental sounds. Maybe it's a motif that I pull from the first song and it's relative throughout. It's hidden. But that is what binds each piece of music. So it comes from a very classical and jazz mindset. But it was also very popular in pop music, in rock music. So that's where my head is at. And this is not, groundbreaking or anything. I'm just choosing to create with this sense because I have so many songs that I have written in a period of time, and they are all connected by my experiences, by my emotional state. I actually have a collection of songs called Where Dreams Go to Die, which was about my time Within the first 5 years of living in St. Augustine, when I moved from Nashville, when I left the music industry, and I moved to St. Augustine to take care of my son, Devin, and be a part of his life, and just completely start over. I didn't leave music behind, obviously, but I needed to pull myself out of the function of being a musician every day. That needed to become something that meant more to me. I didn't want to be on 24/7. I didn't want to be available 24/7. I wanted to be available 24/7 for my son and for myself, which I hadn't done for years. So when I create, and within that time, I create in chunks, in blocks. Like every spring is this incredible moment for me, which I just realized it makes so much sense, because the winter is when you're just supposed to relax and prepare for the next season, and then you start planting seeds, then you start watering those seeds, and you start to harvest, your next bushel, your next whatever, and that's when the flowers bloom, and that's when everything comes back to life. It never made sense to me up until I realized that is the way my life has always been. My life follows the seasons, to where I'm cultivating, and then I'm blossoming, and then I bloom, and then I get to share the abundance, and then it all just kind of goes back to me, enjoying the reward. And it's just cyclical. It just keeps going round and round and round. And now that I understand that that's the way my creative life works, it works in the same way that the earth works, that life works, that the seasons work, it provides so much more comfort and more understanding and more confidence in what I'm doing at the times that I'm doing it, because I don't expect myself to be doing anything else except what the season dictates. So here I am. I'm cultivating. I'm weeding. I'm getting ready to plant seeds, or I've been planting seeds, but now it's time to set them deep in the soil and tend to them. And some I will lose, some will blossom, some will bear fruit, some will look like weeds. But in every bit of it, I find the joy in creating that harvest. And whatever comes out of it, I have to be grateful. So I just wanted to share with you where I'm at creatively. So when I'm making these videos, you're not like, oh, he's a guy, he's talking about AI shit and technology. No, I'm a creative just like you, and I'm searching for myself still. And this is the point where vanity takes a back seat. I don't give a fuck about if I've showered. Sometimes I'll wear what my wife calls my outfit. The same clothes for 3 days. And, I was like, I don't know what, I have no concept of what is going on with me visually right now. And I don't care. That's not the point. My point is to get out what I'm telling you while it's fresh, because if I think about it too long, I'm going to fuck it up. It's all going to go away, and I'm going to try and think about better ways to say it, and maybe write it down and ask, a GPT to find a functional word that represents the little fundamental word that I'm trying to, express in a more impressive way. But I am a man of a limited vocabulary when it comes to speaking. Or so I think. But musically, that is where my vocabulary has expanded, and that is where my true voice exists. in phrasing, in notes, in rhythms. So those are the things that I wanted to share with you. The Senior Society. Find people that you can commune with and express yourself. And it's best if you can do it in person. Get off the fucking screen. Get out. Go to a coffee shop. Go to a park. Go to their studio. Hang out. Just have a conversation. If you were close, I'd say, come the fuck over to my place and hang out. Let's talk about what you're doing. I don't give a fuck if it has anything to do with me. It's not about me. It's about you. It's about where you are in your experience of your creative journey. Because I find that so rewarding. Because whether I've been there or not, I can relate. And as a creative, that's all I want to do is relate to people. And if somebody understands what I'm doing, great. If they don't, that's great too. They've formed an opinion. And it's not that I'm looking for their opinion, but I appreciate it, and I'm grateful that they've decided to share maybe some of their truth. So that's why I'm here. I'm just sharing my truth and hoping that you'll come along for the journey. And I'm not out for numbers. I'm not out for views. I'm not out for anything other than putting this out there because I know there are 2 people that text me that they got something out of my videos and it made sense to them. And I like that. I like that somebody understands what I'm saying. And I like knowing that I have people that I can confide in, that I can have a conversation with, and they're not going to be judgmental. And they're going to be supportive in their own way. And with that, I've got something to do on this beautiful Saturday. And other than finishing my cup of coffee, my good buddy, Josh Chasner, phenomenal guitarist, beautiful person. He got me this Beatles cup when we were recording a record for Santiago y los Gatos. We were in the studio and we were coming to a close, and he knew I was a Beatles fan, and he got me this mug. And you can ask anyone in my family, religiously, I use this mug daily. And every time I pick it up, I think of Josh and his genius and how he's a part of my Senior Society. He's involved in my community, as is Jeff Santiago. He's part of my community. And there are beautiful people that I can share this experience of being a creative with. And that means more to me than any success I've ever had in music. So there you have it. Go do something for yourself. Turn off your phone. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I've taken up too much of your time already. And until the next time that I take up too much of your time, cheers.